Welcome as we continue to interpret questions to enable students to write the GCE. This is Invictus Forum. If this is the first time you are watching our videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also follow us on Facebook at Invictus Forum. Share this video with your friends and leave us a comment. We are going to talk about the lady with a beard, and we are going to handle aspects on style, and we'll begin with irony. Generally, students are not expected to give the different types of irony except the question demands so. So what students should do is to simply talk about irony in general and then show how these ironical situations help in our understanding of the text that is being handled. But for some clarification, I want us to understand that you can get irony from the following. What is said, but which is not meant, verbal irony. What is situation in which the opposite is experienced, situational irony. And also, the situation where some characters know what is happening while others do not, dramatic. Irony in The Lady with a Beard is very glaring, the use of irony. We'll begin. 1. Imade spends time to prepare the alum with such delicacy that we are told that its aroma could be felt round the village. Ironically, no one consumes it. The one that she sends to Eduke, she throws it to the dog out of anger. The one that she sends to Iwang Ename, it is spilled and it is eaten by the gaunt dog. And the one that she leaves on the fire gets burnt and almost puts the house in flames. The fact that the alum, which she sends to Eduke, brings problems because of her sarcastic statement highlights conflict. The one that she sends to Iwang Ename and which is spilled makes Imade to start thinking that there is something behind the spilling of the food, thereby highlighting superstition. When Tube spills the alum in front of Iwang Ename's compound, many people come to sympathize. And the next morning, the village women come to sympathize with Imade. But Imade reproaches them for busybodying and poking their noses into things that do not concern them, thereby leading to her ostracism, highlighting conflict. Secondly, the women visit Imade early in the morning to sympathize with Ntube's spilling of food in front of Iwang Ename's house. Ironically, she rebukes them that they should go back home and do their personal chores rather than to get involved into the falling or the spilling of the food by a child. Her affront or her reproach is considered as an affront to the women folk, which Ebude takes personally because of the personal grudge that she bears against her for her sarcastic remark concerning the alum the previous night, thereby highlighting conflict which leads to her ostracism. We also see revenge from Eduke, which portrays her as revengeful as she corners other women in order for Imade to be ostracized from the women folk. Ahone comes to reconcile Imade with the women folk, but Imade refuses, and she ends up taking her away to a Kenzo so that she might have some rest, highlighting love. Thirdly, the women refuse to transport the buffalo meat when it is announced that Iwang Ename had killed the buffalo, because according to them, the meat belongs to Imade. But before Eduka could give an explanation to the chief. Some of the women had already disappeared because the chief wants to know why the women are not so enthusiastic about the killing of the buffalo and wishes to find out whether the buffalo is a totem that belongs to one of the women. The fact that the women do not want to transport the meat because it belongs to Emade highlights conflict. The meat belongs to the community because it is food that has been sent to them by their ancestors, highlighting communality and superstition. And the fact that the chief believes that the animal could be the totem of one of the women also highlights superstition. During Gandu, Iwanganame brings a prized boa, and many people attribute the pig to belong to Mr. Okore, whereas it actually belongs to Emade, and it's a boa which she had raised by herself in her pen. She refuses to give Mr. Okore the opportunity to dance with the animal as demanded by Ahone, because she does not think that all good things must belong to men. And she proudly displays her boa, which obeys her command, highlighting conflict and feminism. Next, we are made to understand that Mechane is very generous to the women in Moabak. When her daughter Wobe visits her regularly, she brings her a lot of provisions, which she shares with the other women in the village. Ironically, when she falls sick, the women of Moabak do not even know that she is sick. Thoughtless, they actually neglect her to be smeared by her shit and her feces. In her moment of illness, her sisters come to meet her house with some strong smell and all smeared in her own feces, highlighting ingratitude. On the other hand, the fact that she is able to share whatever thing her daughter brings to her with the other women in the village highlights generosity, kindness, and love. The men beat and choke the drums during Ngando. But when Emade climbs on the lead drum, the music comes alive. And even the old men who are sleeping on their beds rock to the rhythm of the music. And even the ancestors join. The same thing had happened during the vigil when Emade had beat the drum the whole night, and many people had wondered whom the drummer was, as she had given firm instruction to the two boys with whom had played the accompanying drums not to disclose her identity. It is therefore ironical that a woman could play a drum with such dexterity, whereas by tradition women are not supposed to beat drums, highlighting feminism. Lastly, Emade is on her way to bring her daughter back to Moabak when she stops her leg on the stone which is in front of her house, and she thinks that all is not well. She decides to take a long journey in search of a female soothsayer who can unravel the mystery behind her foot stubbing. Ironically, even the female soothsayers that she meets, they direct her to meet male soothsayers, which she refuses. Worst of all is the fact that she makes this long journey for close to 2 years, only to end up that her foot stubbing is explained to her by a tapper, who is a man. And this is confirmed by the famous female soothsayer in Zone, who tells her that the tapper had told you that the problem is for you to go back and make peace with your people. Consequently, the return home journey is a very sad one for she had wasted all her time. And when she comes back home, after having looked for a solution traditionally, she ends up using holy water to sprinkle on her leg and a stone in order to cleanse the ill omen, highlighting cultural conflict. And the fact that she emphasizes that this should be done by a female soothsayer highlights feminism. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Leave us a comment so that together we can be able to know what you think about what we are doing, and so that we can prepare for the GCE come this year. Thank you very much.